The residents of Port Charles were used to secrets, scandals, and the occasional bombshell. But what Tracy Quartermaine dropped at her live press conference wasn't just a scandal. It was a seismic event that shook the very foundation of power in the city. In one calculated, unapologetic move, Tracy eviscerated Drew Kane's reputation, legacy, and standing. And by the end of the day, the man who once walked proudly in Jason Morgan's shadow was left with nothing. This is the fallout. This is how Drew lost everything. Tracy Quartermaine hadn't made a public appearance in over 2 months. Rumors swirled that she had been traveling Europe, trying to secure YLQ's newest energy deal. Others said she was in seclusion following a private medical scare. But the truth was far more sinister. Tracy had been quietly compiling evidence, unearthing secrets, and forming alliances with some very unlikely partners. When the Metro Court announced a sudden, special press conference to be held in its grand ballroom, with Tracy Quartermaine as the sole speaker, everyone in town took notice. Journalists flocked from across the state, and nearly every major GH character was in attendance. Even Ned Ashton, still recovering from his time as Eddie Main, looked tense as he escorted Brooklyn to her seat. Carly arrived late, flanked by Olivia and Sam, sensing something was off. And then Drew arrived, calm, confident, shaking hands with reporters. If only he knew. The moment the press conference began, Tracy took the podium with a solemn face. Her voice, however, was unshaken. "What I'm about to share," she said, scanning the room, "will not just affect YLQ. It will affect every single person in this room." The murmurs began immediately. "I stand here today not to protect the Quartermaine legacy, but to salvage it. From deceit. From betrayal. From Drew Kane." The gasps were deafening. "Drew Kane," Tracy continued, "has committed fraud against the YLQ board and against the city of Port Charles." She held up a thick manila folder. These documents contain forged signatures from the YLQ Venezuela deal, fake offshore account logs that show money laundering, and sealed court documents Drew thought were erased from his Navy past. But they were never erased. And now, they're in my possession. Carly stood up, outraged. "What the hell are you doing, Tracy? This is slander." Tracy didn't flinch. "Sit down, Carly. You're part of this, whether you like it or not." The room fell to whispers again. Sam's eyes darted to Drew, who now stood frozen. "Drew," Tracy continued, "partnered with Sidwell Industries behind YLQ's back. In exchange for favorable shares, he agreed to transfer renewable energy patents that didn't belong to him. Patents owned by YLQ. The moment you did that, Drew, you stole from your own family." The words hit harder than fists. Michael, seated in the front row, looked down at his phone. Texts already lighting up. Investors were bailing. And then Tracy dropped the most damning piece of all. "But worse than corporate theft is what you did to a child." A silence unlike anything Port Charles had ever known filled the room. Years ago, Drew signed off on a covert Navy mission that led to the death of 6 civilians, one of whom was the brother of Amara Sidwell. You remember her, don't you? She was going to expose you last year. And she died mysteriously. A file projected on the screen. Autopsy report, Amara Sidwell. Cause of death, undetermined. "You tried to silence her," Tracy whispered. "And you almost succeeded." The chaos erupted. Reporters shouted over each other. Cameras flashed. Security stormed in. Drew tried to speak, to defend himself, but Tracy held up a court order. "As of this moment," she announced, "Drew Kane is no longer an executive officer of YLQ. His shares have been suspended, pending investigation. And yes, this is just the beginning." Jason stormed into the room from the back hallway, face tight with fury. "Tracy, you better explain yourself." "Oh, I will," she snapped. "You may not like what I'm about to say next." She turned to the crowd again. "I tried to protect the Quartermaine legacy. Jason, I even warned you. But your loyalty blinded you. And now, you'll have to choose. Are you Morgan or Quartermaine?" Jason glared at her. "I choose what's right." "Then don't defend Drew. He's not a victim, he's a danger." Sam was visibly shaking. "Tracy, please." Tell me this isn't real. Check your own bank statements, Tracy shot back. Drew funneled money into a trust account for Scout. Tainted money. Navy hush money. He thought he was giving her a future. All he did was stain her name forever. Carly rushed to Drew's side, but he pulled away. I didn't know it would get this far, he whispered. But it was too late. Within 48 hours, the consequences hit like a tidal wave. 1. YelQ stock plummets. The board voted unanimously to launch an internal investigation. Monica was devastated. Ned stepped up to lead temporarily. Drew's image was removed from all corporate offices. 2. Legal consequences. The Port Charles District Attorney announced charges were being reviewed for fraud, corporate espionage, and accessory to involuntary manslaughter. Jordan Ashford personally questioned Drew. 3. Family betrayal. Michael stopped returning Drew's calls. Scout was kept away by Sam. Even Willow, who once defended Drew, said nothing. 4. Carly's breakdown. Carly was seen outside the Metro court in tears, blaming herself. I told him to fight harder. But maybe he already knew this was coming. 5. Jason's choice. In the most painful twist of all, Jason issued a statement to the press. If Drew Kane is guilty of what Tracy says, I cannot support him. No one is above the law. Tracy's revenge was complete. But was it revenge or justice? Weeks passed. Drew Kane was left alone, holed up in the penthouse he once shared with Sam. Most of his accounts were frozen. Carly had refused to speak to him. The once proud Navy SEAL turned CEO now barely had the energy to get out of bed. He gave one final interview to Alexis Davis at The Invader. Alexis, do you admit to what Tracy revealed? Drew, some of it. Not all, but enough. I made mistakes, and people paid the price. Alexis, do you regret it? Drew pauses. I regret not telling the truth when I had the chance. I regret thinking I could bury the past and build a future. You can't build anything on lies. Alexis, what now? Drew, maybe I lose everything. Maybe that's justice. But if Scout ever reads this one day, I want her to know I was sorry. And I loved her more than anything. It was the last anyone heard from him. Port Charles would never be the same. Tracy Quartermaine became both hero and villain, hailed for her honesty, hated for her ruthlessness. Jason returned to a more grounded version of himself, recommitting to family and morality. Carly spiraled, torn between loyalty and heartbreak. She began questioning everything, including her place at the Metro Court. Sam and Scout moved out of town temporarily, needing distance and healing. Michael and Willow now held the reins at YelQ and vowed never to repeat Drew's mistakes. And Drew Kane?
Gone.
Vanished. Last seen driving toward the Canadian border. Some say he's hiding. Others say he's preparing to fight back. But Tracy had warned him. You can only hide your sins for so long. Eventually, they drag you back down. 3 weeks later, a new envelope appeared on Tracy's desk. Inside was a note, written in Drew's hand. Tracy, thank you.
You freed me.
But be careful. Some of the secrets you unearthed were never meant to see daylight. And one of them is still watching. Attached, a blurry surveillance photo of Tracy. Taken just 2 nights ago. She stared at it, unsettled. The war might be over. But the enemy may have just begun to strike. A ghost from Drew's Navy past returns to Port Charles. Tracy is targeted in a mysterious poisoning. Jason uncovers a betrayal within his own family. And Carly's next move could make her Port Charles's most dangerous woman yet.
Stay tuned.
Because in Port Charles, the truth may set you free, but it always comes with a price.